Yo guys, Haku here with my review of One Piece anime episode 728. And this is probably going to be kind of a short review because I did I didn't have a lot of thoughts on the episode, and the episode wasn't really that new content heavy, so it's just going to be kind of a shorter review. So the recap, which is often like a problem with me because I often do not like the recap. I think they do too long of a recap, and this week was a really long recap, but I honestly enjoyed it. I mean, I like seeing it chopped down to just his little Gear 4th attacks, and it was a nice little recap. I didn't mind it. I didn't like it, but I didn't think it would take away or take down the episode itself. Now, one thing I thought when I saw Doflamingo's attacks for his awakened Ito Ito no Mi, I really thought that they looked a lot better than last week. Last week it just seemed like just these plain white piece of paper 2D images, PNG images flying at Luffy. I thought they were kind of poorly animated, and I was kind of disappointed in the Awakened Devil Fruit reveal because there wasn't that much impact with them or anything, but I think they looked way, way better this episode. The animation was more fluid. It wasn't necessarily more high quality, but it was more fluid, and I liked the feeling that it gave. It gave a lot more of a dangerous feeling, where it seemed like the attacks were more of a danger to Luffy this episode than last episode. Now, the sound effects, which is something that I have complained about before, hits in One Piece not like sounding powerful or dangerous enough, the sound effects were so on point. All of the attacks sounded really heavy. Whenever they hit a building, it sounded like impactful. It had a good force to the sound effect, and the bouncing sound effect for Luffy was on point. There were some things in the original episode I thought weren't as good as they could be, but this episode really nailed that bouncing sound effect, in my opinion. Really nailed it. And of course, the little popping sound with Luffy's flight sounded great. It has sounded great, and it probably will continue to sound great. I really enjoy that sound effect that they use for that. Now, I really personally thought that the animation, especially going into the headbutt and the Leo Bazooka, were very, very good. I thought the animation was better than last week, for sure. I really thought it was better than last week, but the week before last, it definitely, of course, it wasn't up to that standard. That was like one of the things in anime where you have a long-running series and you get those one episode things that happen every once in a while where the episode is just really greatly animated, so much so that it doesn't even look like the art style half the time, where it's so animated so very well. So yeah, this I'm getting rambly, but the point I was trying to make, great animation, better than last week. I thought it was an improvement animation wise, especially, or at least the first half of the episode. Next is, that had to be a new OST, a new soundtrack, when Doflamingo was knocked into that mountain and he was just trapped in the side of it and all the citizens were looking at him. And I thought it was amazing. I thought it sounded so powerful. Like, that could be one of my new favorite soundtracks. The soundtrack to Luffy just nailing him into the mountain and that little reveal of him stuck in the mountain. Soundtrack was great, amazing. It sounded new to me. I didn't really recognize it. So props to them for doing that. I thought it was a great choice, and it made me feel. I felt for it. It was cool. Now we get into the citizens and stuff, and they had some pretty funny moments, and I thought the one guy was actually kind of relatable when he was like, don't attack him or anything, but because he's helping us, but you still might want to stay back from him because we don't really know him. He's a pirate who's destroying half the town fighting the guy trying to kill us, but he is still a pirate destroying half the town, so it would kind of make sense to not be against him, but be a little bit wary of him because you don't know him personally, and his reputation is that he is a highly wanted pirate. So I was okay with all of that. The thing I wasn't okay with was the pacing. The pacing was really awkward, I felt, in the second half of this. there was good and there was bad to it, but it was just awkward. They didn't reuse animations, which I liked, but they did have a still screen, at least one that I noticed, that kind of takes away a little of the still screens, but it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't really take much away from that. The big problem with this episode, the first half of this episode was great. One of my favorite episodes in a while, just the first half was, and then the second half was just draggingly slow. It was very slow, and I wasn't much into the second half of this, I gotta say. Wasn't much into it. We can see that we're getting into, I didn't even talk about Burgess. The Burgess stuff was kind of meh to me. I mean, I'm not a huge Burgess fan. He's okay. The fight with him's going to be cool, but it's not something I'm particularly hyped up to see. And we get Luffy out, so we're going to have to figure out how he's going to survive Doflamingo's attacks. And for those of you that read the manga, you know, but I just foresee the next few episodes, they can be good. I think jumping around between characters, they can be made well or whatever, but I don't see them taking a good route with it. I see it likely not being very good for the next few weeks. I think it's going to kind of drag and have a lot of reused animations and a lot of just cutting back to the same things happening. Like, you know how we kept cutting back to the same Luffy and Bellamy scene for like 7 episodes? I could see that happening for like 3 to 4 episodes with like trying to stop the birdcage or trying to protect Luffy from Doflamingo. So it's gonna be kind of a sit to make it through these next few episodes, I think. But I'm hoping they surprise me and do well. I'm hoping. But I'm not expecting a ton. Either way, I absolutely loved the first half of this episode, so even with the bad pacing of the second half, I can't knock it down that much, because I thought the animation was brilliant. I mean, brilliant's a bit of an excessive word. The animation was really good. The sound effects were great, on point, couldn't have asked for anything more. They were brilliant for One Piece standards. Sound effects were great. The soundtrack was great. I absolutely loved the soundtrack and the new song it seemed like that they used for this. So overall, giving this 8 bird cages out of 10. I think that's a very fair score for the just total amount of enjoyment I got out of the first half, because I did deeply enjoy the first half of this episode. Anyway, like if you guys liked the video or agreed in any way, whatever. Comment if you want to put your thoughts down there. If you think I got it wrong, that's cool. People can disagree on things. I mean, just say, yo, I thought you were stupid with this, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, you make a good point if you're making a good point. I mean, I can always be wrong. It's just my opinion, 8 out of 10. But yeah, like and comment, subscribe if you guys want to see more One Piece, more The Walking Dead, more Tower of God, more anime, manga, comics, TV shows, whatever. Just whatever you guys want to do, whatever I want to do, whatever we can have fun doing as a channel and community. And follow on Twitter for updates, for if anything happens, or how things are going to be happening, I guess, whenever a new video's up. And I believe that's it. Share with your friends. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time.